The world was changing faster than anyone could understand. Cities grew taller, machines grew louder, and people grew busier. But somewhere beneath the noise, the earth was growing tired. Rivers no longer sang as they once did. Forests thinned. The wind carried dust instead of fragrance. And yet humanity kept moving forward, unaware that the ground beneath their feet was quietly suffering. It was during this time that Jesus Christ returned, not in glory, not with thunder or fire, but quietly like the morning light touching the land. He walked through a small countryside village where the soil was cracked from drought. Farmers stood beside their fields with worried eyes. Children played less, elders spoke less, and even the birds seemed fewer. Jesus stopped near an ancient olive tree. Its trunk was thick, its branches wide, but its leaves were pale. He placed his hand on the bark, closed his eyes, and listened, not with his ears, but with his heart. The earth is speaking, he whispered. A young boy nearby heard him and asked, Sir, the earth doesn't speak. How can it talk? Jesus smiled gently and said, The earth speaks all the time. Most people have simply forgotten how to listen. Word spread quickly that a teacher had arrived. Villagers gathered around him, hoping for miracles, answers, or comfort. A farmer stepped forward and said, Lord, our land no longer gives as it once did. We work harder every year, but receive less. Why has God abandoned us? Jesus looked at the dry field, then back at the farmer, and said softly, God has not abandoned the earth. The earth has been wounded. The people murmured among themselves. Jesus bent down, picked up a handful of soil, and let it fall slowly through his fingers. This soil once fed your fathers and mothers. It asked only for care, patience, and respect, but you took more than you needed and gave nothing back. A woman asked, Is it a sin to use the earth to survive? No, Jesus replied. It is a sin to forget gratitude. The earth was given to you as a garden, not a treasure chest to be emptied. There was a time when the earth smiled freely. Rivers flowed like silver ribbons. Forests breathed deeply, and the air carried the scent of life. Humanity once lived close to the soil, grateful for every harvest and respectful of every tree. But as time passed, progress became louder than wisdom, and speed became more important than balance. Slowly, the earth began to suffer. Trees fell without apology. Rivers carried waste instead of reflection. Mountains were torn open in the name of advancement. The earth cried out, not with words, but with storms, droughts, and silence. Yet humanity did not listen. One day, Jesus Christ walked into a great city. There were towering buildings of glass and steel, glowing screens everywhere, and crowds moving quickly. But no one truly looked at one another. The city was full, yet empty. Jesus observed quietly. People spoke of success, growth, and power, but never of gratitude. They looked up at the sky, dreaming of conquest, while forgetting the ground that held them. Jesus left the city and walked toward its outskirts, where a forest once stood. Now only broken stumps remained. He knelt, touched the soil, and his face filled with sorrow. The earth remembers, he said softly, even when humanity forgets. A few people followed him. One man said, Lord, this is the price of progress. This is how the world works now. Jesus stood and looked at him with calm eyes. Progress that destroys life is not progress, he replied. It is loss disguised as achievement. He led them to a river nearby. Its waters were dark and slow, struggling to move. This river once gave life, Jesus said. Now it carries the weight of human neglect. A small child stepped forward and asked, Will the river die? Jesus answered gently, The river will survive if the human heart learns how to live. They climbed a hill overlooking the city. Smoke covered the sky like a wound that refused to heal. Jesus spoke again. When the sky cannot breathe, the earth suffer. The world had learned how to build higher, faster, and stronger, but it had forgotten how to listen. Highways cut through forests, factories replaced fields, and the nights glowed brighter than the stars. People called it progress. The earth called it pain. On a quiet morning, Jesus Christ walked through a town shaped by concrete and smoke. Cars rushed past him. Screens held people's attention. No one noticed the man walking slowly, feeling each step as if the ground beneath him mattered. Jesus stopped near a vacant lot where nothing grew. The soil was dry and hard. He knelt and pressed his palm against the ground. "You are still alive?" he whispered. A woman walking her dog paused and watched. "Sir," she said, "nothing grows there anymore." Jesus looked up and smiled. "Life waits for kindness," he replied. More people gathered as Jesus walked toward a polluted stream behind the town. Plastic floated on the surface.